Hey guys, what's up? My name is Hugo Chouinard and I'm a figure skating music designer. Welcome to my studio. What are the three most important parts of your equipment as a skater? Your skates, your costume, and obviously the music. Music is the foundation of your season, on which you will invest time and efforts. It will define your image, your costume, your choreography, and so much more. It should be the mirror, the reflection of your own personality. And when I create a skating mix, I always imagine the music in the context of competition because I was myself a figure skater. I was an ice dancer. I've been on the national team for a few years. I've started the studio back in '94. And I even had the chance to be a synchronized skating coach for 4 years. It started very small when I was a teenager, but it evolved a lot through the years, through these amazing collaboration, people from whom I've learned a lot about my profession. And that's how today we're solving musical equations to make your life easier, to create magic. Keep in mind that music is the canvas on which you will paint your season. Even if you are a great skater, if the music selection, editing and composing is not well designed, you won't shine to your maximum potential. And seriously, music has never been so accessible, so you can find gems everywhere, anytime. Spotify, iTunes, Google Play Music, Shazam, SoundHound, YouTube, and if you don't find, you go. I can help you. And always make sure that the music you're planning to use for the coming season is available in high definition. Same with images. Bad resolution, high definition, you can see the pixelization. Same concept with music. You have bad files, good files, check the resolution, make sure that you can purchase the files you will use. But let's go back to the ice. When I watch skating, I love what surprises me, what reaches me emotionally, what entertains me. And what thrills you when you go to a show, when you see a movie, you go to a ballet or a musical. It's the same with skating. You have a costume, you have an audience, you have a music mix. When you skate, imagine the spotlights. You are a great athlete, but you are also a performer, an entertainer, and an artist. And that's the reason why you need a soundtrack at the height of your performances. A soundtrack to make you shine. Music is not just something intangible. It's your vehicle. It's one of the three most important parts of your equipment. And who are you trying to please when you're selecting your own music? Your coach? The judges? The crowd? Or yourself? I see two strategies when you're picking your music. You can decide to highlight your natural strengths and skills, or maybe to explore new styles to develop your versatility. Figure skating is an extremely technical sport, but it's also a show that must reach an audience. You have to tell and perform a story that must touch emotionally the audience and the judges. And you cannot convey the emotion of music that you do not feel deeply from the inside. Follow your heart. There is so much good music and stories you can tell. Once you have found music that inspires you, and before editing, improvise to it on the ice. Try to make moves and see if it inspires you something. But one thing for sure, editing is the key. It's not just the background music that you shave to reach a specific duration. It's the soundtrack of your story, the story you're going to tell on the ice. Listen to the raw files as many times as you need to identify the most interesting section. Analyze the nuances, make notes, and develop your story. The design and the editing of your program is crucial. Determine the dramatic structure and make it match the curve of energy. And when I say dramatic structure, it's because your program is like a good book or a movie. You need an introduction, a rise, a climax. You need to make it exciting, emotional. And when I say make it match the curve of energy, it's because every athlete doesn't have the same strengths or weaknesses. An athlete with a lower cardio, for example, will probably require a longer slow part or a slow part placed at a specific moment of the program, but make sure that that specific moment will match your dramatic structure. And very simple things can make a difference in the stress factor of an athlete. I remember myself always trying to catch the first note of the program. I was so stressed standing there and waiting for the music to start. When you can simply use the up to 10 seconds standing still at the beginning of the program, this would have lowered my stress a lot when I was performing. And it's all about your editing planning. And the complexity of editing is to find the best strategic and artistic combination to maximize the marks and the emotional impact. Which elements do you imagine on each music? That's an exercise you need to do when you listen to your raw files. Just figuring if this song could be good for a spin or this other track could be good for a jump or the step sequence will help you placing the music in the correct order. Which moment could be used for highlights? Is that bang or this orchestral hit would be good for a throw? Or is this cello section could be good for a spin? Which music would be the best opening? That's always the first question I ask myself. Which music would be the best climatic ending? Or maybe you want to end with a sad, soft ending. This is up to you, but you need to know. And then you need to find the best order to create contrast, because a program that is flat is boring. So create contrast, create emotion, and create moments. Make 2 long drafts and try them on the ice. And then you'll narrow down all the section that feels too long. So it's going to be easy to match your element duration. But before starting to choreograph, you can't go on the ice and face the audience not knowing what you are interpreting. That's basic. So make research about the music you have found. Know the story. Watch the movie. If it's related to a movie, make sure that you watch the movie even before you edit the music. And obviously before you start making the choreography. Create your story. If there's no specific story related to the song you've picked, well, create your own story and tell us that story. Because when you know what you're telling us, when you know your story, you can feel the music. Create the intensity with your performance. Look at these faces, look at the body language. They certainly know what they're telling us and they live the whole story. You can see they're performing it with heart and soul. Look at the crowd. I remember myself, I was having so much fun performing on Latin music, and I was always trying to spot people in the crowd and make them smile. I was like interacting with them and having fun doing it, and it was like helping me perform. Try to move your audience. And when I say create moments, here is a good example. I've made these little skate nods, which are video references to the original source of inspiration. For example, you have here Kaori Sakamoto, and she is doing this iconic move everyone will recognize, which brings flavor to the program, and you can easily make a relation to the story because most of you have seen The Matrix. Here is another one with Yuna in her Bond Girl program. And finally, this little gem of Javier in his Guys and Dolls program, shaking and throwing the dice, like the scene in the movie. If you like the concept and you want to see some more, just go on my Instagram page. I have a bunch of other skate nuts video I've created. So how can the music help creating the magic in a skating program? Well, magic happens when there's a bonding relationship between your mix and the choreography. Abrupt transitions spoil a memorable moment because you want everyone to focus on your performance without being distracted by a bad edit or a bad cut. Mixes and transitions should add to the originality of your program. If you cannot achieve it yourself, well, invest in professional editing. You would not be proud to skate in an awful costume. And it's the same with music. Be proud of your mix. It's always easier to perform when the music sounds awesome. And there are cool things we can do, like removing bad words. See how in the second sample, a word disappeared. And we also can do the opposite, which is isolating a voice so we can remixing, for example, over a beat track or use for a totally new creation. Sky's the limit.
Bloody no sleeping, you're on your tippy toes creeping around like no one knows. Think you're so criminal. Bruises.
Have you heard how the instruments disappeared and there was only the voice remaining? I'm sure you're wondering, what are these flashing numbers? It's a sound level meter, a decibel meter, so I always know what volume is playing in the studio so I don't hurt my ears. So this brings us to composing. A few years ago, it was reserved for seniors and juniors, but now we do compose for pre-novice and juvenile. It's getting really a new trend, and it's very useful when you have, for example, a popular song and you want to create an instrumental bridge to let the song breathe a little bit and to remove some vocal sections. And when I say sky's the limit, it's so true, because I work with Karl Hugo, who is a multi-instrumentalist. He can match any kind of texture, structure, instruments. He can create original arrangements, underlaying rhythms. For example, in ice dance, we need to always have an audible beat. So this he can create to match perfectly the original music you have selected. He can compose extra instruments to enhance a track. For example, you have a piece of piano that you'd like to beef up with an electric guitar, or simply add a cello over it. This is all feasible. We can compose orchestral music bridges. So if you have a song and you need to create a perfect match with a middle part, but you cannot find something that you like, well, we can compose it to really match the song, but make a change of tempo or a change of emotion. We can compose vocal choirs that can sing words, solo singers that will hum a melody. Can be a female voice, a male voice, can be anything. We can create a grandiose ending, like the ending of Tessa and Scott in their Moulin Rouge was beefed up to create that standing ovation moment. You will probably remember Madison Hubble and Zachary Donahue in their Romeo and Juliet program. About a month before Worlds in Japan, they've been told that their ending wasn't strong enough, wasn't intense enough. So Karl Hugo has recomposed a grandiose ending to match their steps, so they didn't have to change the choreography at the last minute. Let's have a listen to it. Here is another example of element duration matching and sound texture matching, which Karl Hugo is really good at. Piaf program, Caitlin Osman. There was a spin that was just a little too long for the original accordion section. And Piaf recording is from the 50s, so the sound is not as good as digital recordings from these days. So we have recomposed that whole accordion section, extrapolating the melody and make it sound like the 50s recording. Watch this example. Who knew that this portion of accordion has been composed to fit the element duration, right? And the icing of your program is the mastering, as important as the editing process, because you can ruin very nice editing with a very bad sound. And we know how picky Rinks are with audio acoustics. Bridge composing. You certainly remember Shoma Ono's program on Dancing on My Own. Shoma wanted to skate on that popular song, but wanted something extra. He didn't want to have the old vocal known version from the beginning till the end. So he asked us to create an instrumental extrapolation of the main melody, which would have the same essence, but that would bring something new, something fresh, something that would reflect his own personality. Let's watch this sample. Have you ever noticed that this section was composed? That's why it needs to be seamless. You don't want to be distracted by a part that doesn't match. I mean, you need to feel and live the magic of the athlete on the ice. This was only a short sample of what Karl Hugo has composed for Shoma. If you want to watch to the original longer version of the video, I'm leaving the link to our Instagram page right below. And just for you skating fans, here is a little bonus video from Karl that doesn't need any presentation. Enjoy.
As it stands, I found myself in that doorway again, with both feet in and your heart on my sleeve. But I will find you again. I will find you again. I will find you again.
Keep in mind something very important. You are an actor, and this is your stage. Thank you everyone for watching. I'm leaving you with a nice quote that Nathan Chan sent me. Performing is so much easier when the music sounds amazing. Have fun on the ice. Bye.